Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
The health minister gives an update on negotiations with the nurses union.
The Minister of Education responds to an ultimatum made by the teachers union president.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. An 11-year-old boy is dead tonight after police say he was stabbed in the chest by a 14-year-old. According to police, the incident happened just after 4 p.m. along Pitt Road in the Oaksfield area. The victim was transported to hospital but died a short while later. Police now have a 14-year-old CC Sweeting student in custody assisting with this investigation. This surveillance video captures part of the scene as officers are seen running after and stopping what appears to be a male student. Another police car then pulls up. Investigations continue. While this latest killing comes less than 24 hours after Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis delivered his second national report in which he touts crime-fighting efforts. Minnis insisted while the Bahamas is much safer now, the war on crime is far from over. Jasmine Brown reports.
In his first national address in January, Minnis focused on what the government was doing to boost economic growth, help create jobs, and provide greater opportunities for Bahamians. Last night, Minnis tackled crime.
After many years of increasing crime rates, our neighborhoods are getting safer and more secure. We are safer and more secure because of our comprehensive approach to policing. In 2018, there was a 25% decrease in the murder rate and 18% decrease in armed robberies and a 23% decrease in unlawful sexual offenses.
He attributed the decrease to increased police visibility and geo-referenced based monitoring for the strategic deployment of police officers. Minnis noted that last year, 100 newly appointed police officers were deployed throughout the agency to provide additional manpower and assist with the overall management of crime on New Providence.
We will be relentless in preventing and fighting crime. We will relentlessly track down those who do us harm.
The Prime Minister also gave an update on the CCTV program. According to Minnis, an additional 507 CCTV cameras will be installed in New Providence. The additional cameras would bring the total number of cameras on the island to 750. He also touted the importance of signing a $1.9 million contract with ShotSpotter Technology to provide 92 sensors that will trace gunshots in various areas of New Providence. In addition to fighting crime on the front lines, the PM also announced last night that several areas at the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services will see an overhaul, with some of them on track to be completed by year's end.
To reduce crime, we must reduce the rate of reoffending.
The PM's announcement follows the most recent human rights report from the U.S. State Department highlighting deplorable conditions at the facility. Minnis did not mention installing toilets or sanitary facilities during his address. However, he did point to personal development programs at the prison aimed at reducing recidivism. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, PLP Chairman Fred Mitchell says the opposition was underwhelmed by Minnis' national address, which he labeled a useless exercise in self-praise. Mitchell said in a statement the report to the nation broke no new ground and provided no new information. With regard to education, Mitchell says Minnis rehashed the same tired promises and deceits on education that Bahamians have heard before. The PLP chairman suggested that the airtime could have been better spent telling Bahamians how Minnis is going to put money back into this economy and announcing that he had dismissed Dr. Dwayne Sands and Marvin Dames for their involvement in the Frank Smith case. Well, Her Majesty's coroner is investigating the shooting death of a suspect who was killed by police. According to police reports, officers responded to reports of an armed male on Graham Drive, Yellowwater Gardens last night. Officers say they approached a man who fit the description, and that's when he produced a firearm and discharged it. Officers were said to be in fear of their lives and opened fire on the man, wounding him. The man was taken to hospital where he died. Police say they recovered a .40 Glock 9mm pistol with an extended clip and 6 rounds of ammunition at the scene. In other news, following an announcement last week by Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar that the government had narrowed down the list of potential buyers of the Grand Lucayan Resort to about 3 or 4 bidders, de Aguilar admitted today that the government may not get the best deal for the shuttered resort. Giorgio Bain reports.
7 months after government agreed to purchase the Grand Lucayan Resort for the full asking price of $65 million, Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar admitted to reporters that Grand Lucayan Renewal Holdings may not get the best deal for the shuttered resort. Lucayan Renewal Holdings reportedly received an excess of 60 bids and whittled that number down to 3 or 4.
In business, that's the way business is. You have to make a deal. And if you keep waiting for the best deal, then you may not make a deal. I found my success in business has been as a result of the ability to make a decision and make a deal. And you may not in every instance get everything that you want, but sometimes it's important to make the deal and then move on. And the benefits that usually accrue to you 5, 6, 7 years from now, you say, wow, I can't believe I waited so long to make the decision that I did, because the benefits that are accruing are so substantial.
In August of last year, government put down a $10 million deposit for the resort on Grand Bahama. The following month, government paid another $20 million and took out a 3.5-year mortgage for the remaining $35 million. Chairman of the Special Purpose Vehicle Board, Michael Scott, reportedly told the Tribune that the preferred bidder for the resort is likely to be announced this week, with the board set to submit its recommendation imminently. De Aguilar suggested that Scott spoke too soon.
That may be a little premature. The government obviously is in negotiations. I don't think that's any secret. When these negotiations will be completed and when we are able to make an announcement is still unknown. So we will, but we remain hopeful and encouraged.
Scott also telling the Tribune that the Grand Lucayan Board was currently finalizing its submission to the government and warned that time is running out for the resort's managers and their representatives to accept what he called a super generous payout offer. Outside Cabinet Tuesday morning, de Aguilar said managers may not get everything they want, but he is set to meet with them this week.
That is a negotiation still ongoing. I am meeting again with the union at the end of this week to continue the negotiations. But as I said to one of your colleagues in the press, at some stage one will have to decide what is the best deal, and this is from the managers. You may not get everything that you want, but you've gone on for 7 months and haven't got to a result, and you may not get the best deal. And one thing I found in business, it's better to get a deal than to wait an inordinate amount of time to get the absolute deal that you want.
Officials have said they hope to sell the resort by the end of the second quarter. Reporting for our news, I'm Giorgio Bain.
All right, thanks, Giorgio. Amid a major purge of the senior rank of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, PLP Chairman Fred Mitchell is questioning why some senior officers were sent on leave when other officers who remain on the job have accumulated more vacation leave. Last week, 5 assistant commissioners were asked to take their accumulated vacation. They are expected to retire at the end of their leave. This came 2 weeks after 3 senior officers were also placed on leave.
The Prime Minister was being disingenuous when he said in his press conference that, what's the big deal? It's insensitive and disingenuous, because these are people's lives you're talking about. People who have long periods of vacation didn't get the long periods of vacation on their own. They had permission to keep the vacation leave. And so therefore you can't blame them if they have long periods of leave. The fact is, though, that some of the people these people who are being let go have less leave than some people who are not being let go. And so the question is, why is that so? And we think the answer is they're suspected of being PLP, and that's why they're being sent home.
Our news understands ACP Theophilus Cunningham, who was sent on leave, has more than 70 weeks of accumulated leave, but so does ACP Esmela Davis Delancey, who has not been placed on leave. And while ACP Ken Strawn and ACP Layman Delaveau have over 30 weeks of leave, so does ACP Paul Roll, who has not been sent on leave. We also understand that ACP Ashton Greenslade has close to 50 weeks of leave, and so does ACP Samuel Butler, who remains on the job. The Commissioner of Police is said to have nearly 60 weeks of accumulated leave.
I would encourage them to do so. I was an attorney for several police officers when this happened the last time, and they were successful in getting their monies, which is the difference between their retirement age and the time when they were forced off the force. So I would think that people who get these kinds of instructions should go and lawyer up quickly and file a writ, because you have a year to file against the government and get your money. That would be my advice.
Following a strike threat by the Bahamas Nurses Union, the Public Hospitals Authority insisted today that it is open to discussions with the union regarding a proposed shift system for nurses. This as the health minister called for continued dialogue. With more on this, here's Jillian Gray.
I don't believe that this is an ideal time to make the public suffer over a matter that we have the absolute commitment to resolve.
That was the health minister's response to a strike threat by the Bahamas Nurses Union. On Friday, BNU President Amancia Williams said they are ready at any moment to take action as negotiations with PHA over a new shift system have stalled. The health minister said he was not even aware that the BNU and PHA were at an impasse.
This is a discussion with the Public Hospital Authority, of course, but I am advised that there has been no significant conversation on this matter in recent weeks. And so I'm not sure exactly why that has become topical again.
The PHA said in a statement that of all its staff, only the nursing team's work schedule remains out of step with widely accepted practice. The PHA maintains that the new shift system would eliminate inequities of the current night shift system that allows nurses to work 4 days, then be awarded 4 nights off, resulting in night duty nurses being paid leave for 77 more days per year compared to nurses that work day shifts. However, the BNU president doubled down last week, telling reporters nurses will not work that shift, and called PHA's proposal of $1.75 per hour unacceptable. Sands said his current focus is on paying millions of dollars owed in overtime.
We find ourselves with almost $750,000 worth of overtime just in 1 month, which is a phenomenal burden for the healthcare system. There was some delay in having those payments made to staff, but that will be rectified and they will all be paid in very short order.
The health minister said the attention should be on the way forward for the healthcare system, and a big part of that is recruitment, which he said is not an overnight fix.
Most of our critical care services are covered by non-Bahamians. That is true in the private sector, it's true in the public sector. And it speaks to a need to recommit for recruitment and retention, and that process is ongoing.
Now again, Dr. Sands could not say when negotiations would be complete, but said the important thing is that both sides are committed to finding an amicable resolution. Reporting for our news, I'm Jillian Gray.
Thanks, Jillian. Well, arguing that South Eleuthera has been impoverished for many years, Minister of Tourism Dionisio de Aguilar defended the Disney deal outside Cabinet Tuesday morning amid criticism that the deal was not negotiated on behalf of Bahamians. De Aguilar said he could not disagree more and that the government has the full support of South Eleutherans.
I disagree, of course. Mrs. Glennis Hannah Martin obviously has a point of view. We think that it was a good deal. South Eleuthera, of course, for many years has been impoverished, and we feel that it's important to create opportunities for that community. I mean, what was amazing is the people of South Eleuthera were seemingly very supportive of it, and so you know, it's, as I say, it's important to get spades in the ground to get the deal done.
De Aguilar was responding to Angliston MP Glennis Hannah Martin, who said the deal was negotiated miserably. De Aguilar said the goal was to get the deal done as soon as possible, and he thinks it's a good one.
Mrs. Hannah Martin is probably someone who negotiates and takes a long time to make a deal. We feel that it's important to make the deal. Let's get the boots on the ground, the spades in the ground, and people employed, and people enjoying, empowering people, and creating employment for our people. So we think it's a good deal.
Still to come, why NIB employees evacuated their Blue Hill headquarters. Plus, the education minister responds to a teachers union ultimatum. Stay tuned.